All right, this is a review for our Chapter 8 test tomorrow. I'm really hoping that you guys will go home tonight and kind of like listen through this again while you're doing your quiz corrections and just make sure that you understand all of these rules of exponents. All right, the first one is our two main properties of exponents. You don't have to write the whole statement because, again, this is going to be on YouTube. But I want you to answer each question. Which property could you use to evaluate 3 to the 8th times 3 to the 10th and y to the 7th over y to the 3rd? What would be my first property? No, you're close. Micah? Yep, and what's my second one? Product of powers and quotient of powers, all right? So if it's on here, it means in some form it's going to be on your test tomorrow. Next slide. Okay. Write the product using exponents. We want to be real specific on how we write this. All right, Avery, what did you write?
5 to the 3rd,
Very good. 5 to the 3rd, a to the 3rd, and b to the 3rd. And she was careful not to do the dots and the spaces and all of that. Okay, so that's going to be your full credit answer. If you put dots and spaces, like I've seen 5 to the 3rd and then a huge gap, when you put these gaps, it splits that term, and we need to understand that it's all together, okay? So don't put the gaps in there tomorrow. You'll lose points for that. All right, so now we have 4 problems on the next slide, and we're really trying to, I guess, practice the whole concept of this negative base, when I have a negative base, when I raise a fraction to a power, all right, all of those different rules that you're going to see on your test. What's 8 squared? Woohoo, yeah, 64. Don't say 16, okay? Remember, that's 8 times 8. All right, coming back to Connor, what's negative 4 squared? Connor?
What, me?
Yes, second Connor.
Negative 16.
Ooh,
oh, man.
Man, Mason, what is it? 16. Positive 16. Positive 16. Cam, did you get negative 6 squared? What did you get for negative 6 squared?
Negative 36.
Yes, good. Why was it negative 36 instead of positive 36? Don't you say you guessed either.
Oh no, I ain't guess. Cause you know how you do. If it was like 3, if it was the 3 exponent, then it would be positive, right?
No, don't have anything. Because technically, to the second power, Nick.
Because it don't have parentheses.
Yes, there's no parentheses. That's the difference between this one and this one. There's no parentheses around the base, which means that my product is negative. Right, coming to this last one. Josh, what'd you get?
I got 25 over 36.
Perfect. Just raise your numerator and your denominator to that power. Good job. All right, so just evaluating the powers. Again, if it's here, that means it's on your test tomorrow. Okay, properties of exponents. Here's where we started yesterday on the quiz, running into some mistakes. So we're going to spend some time here working through each one of these problems. Okay, Connor, what'd you get for the first one? Very good. M to the 5th. Product of powers says I add my exponents. 9 plus negative 4 is 5. So m to the 5th power. All right, now let's come over here and do our 6s. All right, yeah, the 6s. What, did you do the one down? Did you do this one? Okay, all right. Tell me what that one is.
I got g to the 2nd power over 3.
Very good. Awesome. Over 3. Now, did anybody put 1g to the 2nd power over 3? All right, perfect. Perfect. That's fine. So we reduce this to 1/3, which is why a lot of people would say 1 over 3. Okay, but Nick went a step further and he said, well, I know it's understood 1, so I don't have to put it. So either one of those answers would be full credit on the test tomorrow. All right, great job on that one. Okay, so we see our common bases. Does everybody agree that these exponents have a common base of 6? So because of that, this is really helpful. You don't have to do 6 times 6 5 times. all you have to do is subtract your exponents. And you get 6 to the second power. Remember, when you subtract them, you're bringing them into the numerator. Okay? Now, look what happens for your x's, though. What happens when you do 4 minus 8? It's negative 4. Okay? Well, you can evaluate 6 squared. What's 6 squared?
36.
36. But I can't have a negative exponent in my answer. So where could I put x to the negative 4?
In the bottom.
In the bottom of the fraction. And when I move it to the bottom, it becomes positive. I did see some people yesterday, they had the negative exponent, and when they moved it into the denominator, they kept it negative. So that tells me they forgot what they were actually doing and moving it. When you move it, you reverse the sign. Okay? 36 over x to the 4th. All right, let's do this last one. C to the 7th over 2c to the 3rd power. Here's what you need to remember. This does not mean 2c to the 3rd power. Okay? This means you have to raise each term inside to the 3rd power. So this is c to the 7th power over 2 to the 3rd power times c to the 3rd power. Okay? So now, what is 2 to the 3rd power? 8. So c to the 7th over 8c to the 3rd. But now I have one more step. What can I do? What can I do with my c's? Subtract my c's. I have a common base here. What's 7 minus 3? 4. And since it's positive, I can leave it on top. C to the 4th over 8.
Sorry. Oh, I did it. I did
Okay.
I mean, multiplied it wrong. Put 9 there.
All right. So hopefully we're clearing up some of these common mistakes when you go to do your quiz corrections tonight. Hopefully you can see, oh yeah, I know what I did wrong, or I know how to fix it. Okay? All right, let's do these two. These should be a little quicker. Okay, Connor, what'd you get for the first one?
G to the 6th power.
Yes, G to the 10th over G to the 4th is G to the 6th power. All right, Micah, what'd you get for the second one?
36a to the 2nd. B to the 2nd.
Yes. Did you evaluate 6 squared? Okay, if you write 6 squared in your answer, you're going to lose a point on your test tomorrow, because you can evaluate 6 squared to be 36 and then a squared, b squared. It goes along the lines of what we just did in that last slide. When I have a product raised to a power, I have to raise every term inside the parentheses to that power. Okay? All right, good job on those. All right, next slide. All right, so these 3 problems are where we saw probably the bulk of our mistakes happening. These negative exponents are real tough. We need to simplify the expression as much as we can. Do your product of powers. Do your quotient of powers. Do your multiplication or your reducing. Then, if you have a negative exponent left, you have to move it to the other side of the fraction. So let's go ahead and practice these 3 problems. Okay, very good. So I'm going to break it down by steps, but she got it right. Okay, so guys, pay attention. Look up here. Okay, did you do 5 times 4 equals 20? Then, look up here. Then you do your product of powers for your common base of y. Negative 3 plus negative 8 is what? What's negative 3 plus negative 8?
11.
Negative 11. But my rule says write your answers using only positive exponents. So here's my question. Do I need to move the whole thing into the denominator? No. 20 can stay in the numerator because it has just a positive exponent. 20 over y to the 11th. Okay? Are you feeling more confident on that? Okay? All right. Now, what about the second one over here? Kelsey, what did you get for 15b to the negative 8th?
15 over b to the 8th.
Very good. 15 over b to the 8th power. Good job. All right. And Connor, Starling, I know this is the hardest one. All right, can your buddy save you? Connor, did you get it?
I got it.
I got it.
Okay, Mason, did you get it? He's next.
I got it.
All right, do we need another
I
minute?
got it.
No,
I got it.
Let me do
I
it.
got it.
Okay.
I got it. Miss Kendra's right.
All right, Cam, what did you get?
Can I go through the steps?
Yeah, walk me through the steps because we need the steps.
So 12 over the 8th power, it can be simplified.
Yep. What do you reduce? 12 over 8 reduces to?
3 over 2.
Very good. 3 over 2.
And then the z
Yep.
on the with 3.
Yep.
And then -3 minus -5.
Yes.
This is a pot, and the 2 negative turn to a positive.
Yes.
So then you do -3 plus 5, and that's 2.
So we can leave it on top, right?
Leave it alone.
Yes. Good
Leave it on
job.
fives.
All right. Awesome. Good job. Did you get it? Did you get it or did you almost get it? Okay. So we got to catch that double negative. You will have one of those on your test tomorrow, okay? Where you have that double negative. Now we've got our operations and scientific notation. Be careful. Be careful. Okay? Look at what the operation is.
Oh,
Because we had a lot of mistakes on, especially the addition one yesterday. Okay? So let's watch out for those.
Miss Tender?
Can you just add the first one right off the bat?
No.
No, you cannot. I believe it's Team 4's turn.
I got 4.
Does anyone in Team 4 have the answer to the first one? Anyone? So you cannot add these right off the bat. All right, Connor.
Yeah, okay.
What is it?
So,
We're running out of time, guys.
So 10 to the third power is 2. You need to subtract it to 10 to the second power. Wait.
Move the other one up.
Oh, man.
Now, if you did, what did you get for your answer?
I got 1.72 times 10 to the third power.
Connor did get it correct, but here's what. But you had to move it back at the end, didn't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
So here's what I would recommend. Take the lower one and rate of the exponent values and raise it to the higher exponent value. That way you keep your numbers small. So if I add 1, what does that make this decimal? If I needed to add 1 to my exponent?
4.2.
0.42. So it makes it 0.42 times 10 to the third. I raised my exponent by 1, and that moved my decimal left. So they offset. Those operations offset. Now I can add 1.3 to get 1.72. Okay, and then Connor did the other one, but he still got the correct answer. He would get full credit.
That's what I got.
Okay.
But look, Miss Kendra. Miss Kendra.
So on this one, what operation do I have here?
Division.
Division. Okay, so does anybody in this row have the answer? Micah.
2 times 10 to the 6th power.
Okay, so he said 2. How did he get a 2?
Divided.
Divide. 8 divided by 4. Divide your numbers. 8 divided by 4. And then when it's division with exponents with the same base, what do I do when it's division? I subtract. So a lot of times I'll see people try to divide this because they see division. But remember, this is quotient of powers, which means to subtract 10 to the 6th power. Okay, so 2 times 10 to the 6th power. Okay. All right, scientific notation. Again, guys, we're running out of time, but let's go ahead and start working through this. Let's see if we can get through this section, and then all we would have left is the review section. It's on your review sheet, okay? And then it'll also be on the video. I just have to finish recording it after class since we're almost out of time. All right, but it will be on your video, on the YouTube video tonight. All right. Okay, so we're just going to open it up. Can anybody raise your hand and tell me scientific notation for the top left? Nick.
7.865 times 10 to the
10 to the what? All right, who can help him out? Micah?
13th power.
13th power.
Oh, I was so close.
13th power. Okay, all right. What about the next one down? The next one down. Yes, on the left. Josh?
That is
Yep, negative fifth power. Good job. All right, on the top right one, tell me how many zeros and where. How many zeros and where, Micah?
You have 7 zeros and to the right.
Very good. 52 and then 7 zeros. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 6, 520 million. Okay, how many zeros on the last one, guys, and where? Let's see, Cam?
3 to the left.
Yep, 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3, and then 2, 4. Okay, so that's our scientific notation. Now, on the Chapter 7 review, again, we only have a minute left, but we're going to graph a function. Can anybody tell me real quick, no, we do have a 10-minute break, so we don't have to rush out of here. Where would my first point go on this graph? Can anybody tell me? On the 2. The y-intercept tells me the first point on the graph. Where do I go from there? Up to over 1. Boom, and I'm done. Okay? So there's my line. So on the other one, you're exactly right. Now I have to read the graph. And I need slope and y-intercept to write my equation. Y equals, let's count my rise over run. How many do I go down?
2.
Down 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so negative 2 over 4, would that reduce? Negative 1/2 x. Where does it cross the y-axis? Plus 2. Okay, so hopefully those will be easy points on your test tomorrow. All right, and that's everything for your test tomorrow.
That was